Many aquariums run without any plants. But are plants actually necessary? What happens in a tank without them? Algae grows, nitrogen accumulates, oxygen levels fluctuate, and your fish lives right in the middle of that battle. Plants win that battle for you. Today we're going to talk about these plants, what each one does, what conditions each one works under. And there's one plant on this list that needs no substrate, no special lighting, no CO2. But it might be doing more work in your tank than anything else. Plants aren't added just to look nice, or at least not only for that. Live plants are part of the nitrogen cycle. They grow by absorbing ammonia and nitrite. That means they're doing a portion of the same job your filter does. Even if the filter goes down, the plants act as a buffer during that window. During the day, they photosynthesize, producing oxygen. At night, they consume oxygen, yes. But in most situations, the net balance is positive. And the most critical function? Competing against algae. Algae uses the same resources plants do: light, nitrate, phosphate. The two are in constant competition in the same tank. The denser the plant mass, the less room algae can find. Adding dense planting immediately to a newly set up tank is one of the most effective ways to prevent an algae problem before it starts. So which plant does this job best? Java moss. No light, no substrate, no CO2, and it still grows. Java moss is the most forgiving plant in the hobby. It can attach to any surface: driftwood, stone, decor, filter tubing. Tie it down with fishing line, and within a few weeks, it's anchored. Then you leave it alone. And this plant is highly versatile. A perfect hiding spot for fry, a grazing surface for shrimp, a competitor against algae, a habitat for microorganisms, the same microorganisms that serve as the first food for small fish. It fits into every setup from nano tanks to large displays. When you want to trim it, you just cut it. As it multiplies, you can pass pieces along to other hobbyists. The one thing to watch? It thickens over time, and debris accumulates inside. Regular light trimming is essential. But this isn't the hardiest plant on the list, because the next plant looks like it's barely growing, but it lives seemingly forever. Anubias. One new leaf every 4 to 6 weeks. That's slow, very slow. But that slowness is also Anubias's greatest advantage. Algae can't keep up with it. Fast-growing plants constantly push out new growth, and older leaves become vulnerable to algae. Anubias leaves are thick, dark, and long-lived. Algae struggles to get a foothold on them. It lives in shade, works under low light, needs no CO2. It attaches to wood or stone rather than substrate. And here's a very important warning. Burying Anubias in the substrate kills it. The rhizome, that thick horizontal stem, must always remain above the soil. If you bury it, it rots. This is the most common mistake hobbyists make with this plant, and the last one they notice. Attach it to any piece of driftwood or stone with fishing line or aquarium-safe gel. Within a few weeks, it grips on its own, and then it grows for years without asking for anything. But Anubias has a close relative on this list, and that one carries a slightly different advantage. Java fern, visually different from Anubias. Long, wavy, dark green leaves. And the same rule applies. It grows on wood or stone, not in substrate. Java fern has one fascinating trait. Small plantlets form along the edges of older leaves. The parent leaf carries these babies. After a while, the plantlet detaches, anchors to a surface, and starts growing on its own. It multiplies without anyone doing a thing. This is one of the biggest reasons hobbyists love Java fern. Over time, one plant becomes 10, works under low light, tolerates a wide pH range. It can even live in a goldfish tank. Goldfish eat plants, but they find Java fern unpalatable. It acts like a chemical deterrent. But if you really want to fill the water column, to block off the background, to create a curtain effect, there's a much faster growing option on this list. Vallisneria, growing several inches per week. That's fast, very fast. And that speed is both an advantage and a disadvantage. With its thin, long, grass-like leaves, Vallisneria fills the back section of the tank and forms a natural backdrop. Fish hide within that curtain. The swimming space gains visual depth, and its oxygen production is among the highest on this list. During daytime photosynthesis, small oxygen bubbles rise from its leaves, a sight known as pearling. It's one of the most beautiful visual indicators of a healthy plant. It needs substrate, sand or fine gravel, and grows through roots. Adding a root tab every 2 months accelerates growth significantly, but its rapid growth requires regular trimming. Left untrimmed, it closes off the surface and blocks light from reaching other plants. One specific caution: Vallisneria is extremely sensitive to copper-based medications. Anyone using copper in fish treatment needs to be careful around this plant. So what if a plant could grow just as fast without needing any substrate at all? Hornwort. No substrate, no CO2, even in low light, and it grows rapidly for weeks at a stretch. Hornwort is a needle-leafed, feathery-looking plant. Drop it in the water and it floats. Weight it down to the bottom and it stands upright. It survives both ways, and because it grows so fast, its nitrogen absorption is the highest on this list. In a newly set up tank, when the cycle hasn't fully established yet, Hornwort closes that gap. It grows by absorbing ammonia and nitrite. One warning though, it sheds needles for the first few weeks. This is normal. As it adjusts to new water, old needles fall while new growth begins. No need to panic, and over time it gets very large. If you don't trim it regularly, it takes over the entire surface. There's one more plant on this list that needs substrate but creates a far more striking visual impact. Amazon sword. Large, wide, impressive. The Amazon sword creates the most visual impact of any plant on this list. Broad, tall, vivid green leaves. It can grow up to 12 to 15 inches in height. It needs substrate, and root tabs are essential. This is a root-feeding plant. If root tabs aren't refreshed every 2 to 3 months, growth stalls and leaves start to yellow. And its light requirement is slightly higher than the others. In shade, growth slows noticeably. But under the right setup, this plant becomes the focal point of the entire tank. There are people who got into the hobby specifically for the sight of fish swimming around a large Amazon sword. Designed for medium to large tanks. In a small 5-gallon nano tank, it has no place. It takes up too much room and shades out everything else. So which plant goes in which tank? The answer depends on 3 factors: light, substrate, and volume. Low light, no substrate, nano tank. Java moss, Anubias, Java fern. These 3 form the most forgiving combination available. For new hobbyists, these are the choices with the most room for error in a first setup. Low light, with substrate, medium volume. Vallisneria and Hornwort in the background, Java fern and Anubias in the foreground. Visual layering is excellent. Maintenance is minimal. Medium light, with substrate, large tank. Amazon sword in the background. Vallisneria along the side walls. Anubias and Java moss in the foreground. This combination builds a complete ecosystem. Goldfish or plant-eating species, Java fern and Anubias. These 2 resist being eaten. Fish will consume almost everything else, but generally leave these 2 alone. And here are the plants you need to stay away from. Bamboo. Pet stores sell it frequently as lucky bamboo. But bamboo is not a water plant. Kept submerged, it rots and poisons the tank. Dracaena, a tropical land plant. It survives underwater for a few months, then decomposes. Generic, natural-looking plants with an artificial appearance. Some stores sell painted or plastic-coated terrestrial plants as aquarium plants. They look nice when first submerged. A few months later, they rot and become a source of contamination. Before buying, ask one question: is this actually a plant that lives underwater? Algae was growing. Nitrogen was building up. Oxygen was fluctuating. Now in that tank, Java moss is anchored to a piece of driftwood. Anubias is attached to a stone. Vallisneria stretches across the background like a curtain. Hornwort floats near the surface, absorbing nitrogen. Which plants do you have in your tank? Write it in the comments. In the next video, I'll be sharing practical but genuinely life-saving information. If you don't want to miss it, you know what to do. See you under the water.